In the last vlog, I said we would just vibe code everything just for the sake of speed. Unfortunately, since that vlog, the Home Design AI app is still not launched, but I have launched 3 of these apps through vibe coding, and I've learned a lot. I want to share those lessons with you. I wrote the lessons down. But before we go to that, I do want to just reiterate one point that I've learned that I believe in so much now. So if you've read the book Atomic Habits, there was this specific segment which really captured me. It is that taking many photos rather than focusing on one single perfect photo is a more effective strategy for improving photography skills. Now that's in the context of photography skills, but the general idea is to put the reps in. So don't aim for perfection. Instead, start with repetition and put in the reps, and you'll learn a lot more that way. And that was really reinforced by launching these 3. So those are the lessons I want to go through with you today. And it had nothing to do with coding because they were vibe coded, but I learned a lot of lessons about users and about all sorts of things. So first of all, monetization creates expectations. The first vibe coded app I launched was this one, Remove Background. And because it used AI, I had to monetize it. It just made sense. Otherwise, I'd be bleeding money. And because I monetized it, I had such high expectations for it in launching it. And when it wasn't met with sales, in fact, I got 0 sales, I was very, very disappointed. And that's actually not good because I think that throws you into a spot where you question, does this work? Should I keep going? Could I be investing my time doing something else and that sort of thing? So initially when you're learning, it's hard not to have expectations. I realize that, but maybe you have to temper them. And this is the second point. If you build AI-based apps, which are all the rage, you're almost forced into monetization. Another thing I learned are that getting ratings is really hard. I'm putting the rating pop-up after affirmative actions, like positive actions that the user takes. I've tried popping it up after the onboarding, and I haven't got any rating. There are downloads. When you launch the app, Apple does give your app a boost, so that's why you see this hill right here. But I didn't receive any ratings, and I think it's harder than I thought. The other thing is to be best in class. Now, the whole idea with building these apps was to base it off of keywords, right? Lower competition keywords. But what I realized is that even though they're low competition, there still is competition. And if your app is not better than the competitor apps, there's no chance. Like, it's free for users to download apps. They're gonna download 10 background removal apps, and they're gonna pay for the one which is the most worth it. And if your app is only like very limited in the feature set, or maybe isn't as good, just plain and simple, they're not gonna pay for it. So even if you're competing in a small pond, you have to try to be the best if you want to make money. So then perhaps it's better to go into a smaller pond, because that way it's easier to compete to be the best. And perhaps there will be less apps to compete with, and you'll be able to have users that are more thankful for your app because there are just less apps that solve this niche problem. That's my thinking. And also, the app should be useful even though the user doesn't pay. This is something that seems obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me when I was building this app, the first one, because what I did was I made the app so that they could try out removing the background once, but afterwards they would have to pay for it. And the reason is because it costs me money. I'm using another service, which I have to pay for, and that limited me in terms of my risk. Like, I didn't want to allow free users to just spend credits that I have to pay for, and these free users may never convert. So that might just be me not having enough experience and tolerance for risk for this sort of thing. But I realize in building AI apps, it puts you into this position where you have to take that risk. You have to lose money in order to potentially make money, and you have to monetize the app. In contrast, when I built this one, Photo Delete Swipe Cleaner, which is a camera roll management thing, no AI in it. So I was able to offer free features and pro features if the user wants to pay for it. But even if they don't, the app is still useful and they can keep coming back to it to use it. I just limit the amount that they can do per day. And the reason why I think it's important for the app to still be useful, even though it's free, is so that you can build a user base and then eventually monetize it. With this app, I can't, because if they don't pay for it after the first onboarding experience where they can get to try it out for free, then there's no point in them keeping the app around because they can't use it without paying for it. And so there's no opportunity to build any sort of free user base. So I think in the future, I have to think about creating apps that should still be useful even if it's free. And then spending time to really understand the use case. This one, I thought I understood the objective of this app idea, which was to remove the background. But upon further inspection, after realizing, I started asking, why aren't people paying for this app? And I realized it's because I really wasn't satisfying the use case. I didn't further question, why do people actually want to remove the background for the app? And it's because they want to do perhaps product placement photography, like product photography, or maybe portrait photography, where they would want to replace the background with maybe a neutral color or some sort of different background. This app doesn't help them fulfill the end result. It just removes the background. Then what do? They have to download it, bring it into a Photoshop or something like that, and then manually apply a background. All the other competitor apps let you actually put some other background behind it in addition to removing the background. So I think I really missed the use case there. So my lesson learned there was to just spend a little more time to actually understand why users are looking for an app like that, or why are they looking to do that. And I realized that apps need marketing. Seems super obvious, right? I will say that in optimizing these apps for a specific keyword that we found to be lower competition, it is ranking for a whole bunch of different keywords, and it is getting downloads. So as you can see here, it's ranking for a whole bunch of different things, right? And even though these popularity ratings are 5, they are still all adding up to bring traffic to the app. And you can see from here that they are getting impressions and they are getting downloads. But after that initial boost, it slows down unless you manually put in effort to promote it. And the problem is that because I'm basing these apps that I'm building off of these keywords that I found, I don't really believe in the topics. I don't really feel passionate enough about the topic, or perhaps I don't feel like an authority on the topic to create content and to promote it. And I don't think it solves a problem that I really can get behind. And that's the problem with building apps that are keyword focused rather than starting from a different angle, which is that you're trying to solve a problem that you really believe in. Maybe you have some authority in, maybe it's a problem that you have that you've spent a little bit of time in, and then finding keywords for that topic instead, So that's a learning there for me. But despite saying all of that, I don't regret building those apps and launching them because I learned so much just from doing it. Number one, I got over the fear of rejection because launching these apps, I failed Apple review in all of them, not all of them, 2 of them, but I failed multiple times in those 2 of them. And it's just a matter of fixing something, resubmitting, waiting 24 hours, and then getting it reviewed again. So there's really nothing to fear. So I got over the fear of shipping, which I think is really important. And I learned so much about what makes an app useful. In launching each app, I learned so much. And as I continue releasing more apps, I will learn more and more. And that sort of reinforces this part where just start with a repetition, put in the reps, and don't try to monetize. Don't try to make money off of it. If your expectation off of the first couple of apps you launch is to make money, then I think you will get really disappointed and you'll probably quit. And then my last lesson is that if you don't give up, you will eventually find success. Even if I continue down this strategy of just building quantity and volume off of these keyword-based ideas and I don't do any marketing, I have no doubt that rankings will improve over time. So it'll be getting more downloads. And then also, it's just a numbers game. The more apps I release, the more impressions I'll get, the more downloads I'll get. And eventually, as I get better in building engaging and good apps that people find value in, I'll be able to charge some amount of money and some amount of downloads will convert and I will start making money. So I think it is inevitable as long as I don't give up and that I don't get impatient. However, I am itching to build a bigger app. So I think I'm going to continue building smaller apps as well with these lessons that I've learned because, like I said, I've vibe coded all of these. They didn't take long. They took 3 to 4 days each. And I just learned so much from launching and shipping. I don't think I'm going to stop doing that, but at the same time, I am going to work on a bigger idea, solving a problem that I actually believe in, that I can actually get behind and actually put in the other work like talking to users and formulating a marketing plan and analyzing data, iteratively improving the app and turning it into a really good app. I just can't see putting in all those work into these apps, which I didn't really believe in the first place. Like, I didn't build it for that reason. I really didn't have met much expectations for it. As I'm formulating marketing plans and I'm learning about app marketing and creating TikToks and creating like social media content to promote apps and stuff like that, I really can't see doing that sort of stuff for these apps that I'm building. So that's why I'm going to work on another idea that I actually believe in, I can do those things for, but at the same time, I'm still going to probably treat these smaller keyword-based app ideas as evening or weekend, like hackathon type projects that I don't really put much expectations into, but still learning a lot by shipping nonetheless. Yeah, so that's where I'm at in the indie app journey. If you want to start this journey for yourself, the first step would be to look for keywords using Astro, and I created a video for that right over here. I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.